When you talk with VCs, you might never get anything out of it. But with crowdfunding, you have 100 discussions and all of them pay off.
If we don't bring this forward, we don't think that anyone will.
Like really, really looking towards the goal and cutting all the noise away. I think that has kept us quite cost efficient.
Welcome to another GS MedTech podcast. I'm your host, Dana Medarski, and today I have the two co-founders of Askel Healthcare joining me, Virpi Muhonen and Anne-Marie Haaparanta. Askel Healthcare is developing class 3 implantable device for treatment of knee cartilage damage. Finnish-based company, and I'll let Anne-Marie and Virpi let us know everything about it. Thank you for joining me today.
Happy to be here. It's a pleasure.
So maybe we'll start by a short introduction of the company and the mission behind it.
Yeah. So one of the reasoning why we have this company is quite simple, because we come from the academic background. So we are both scientists. And then we did our kind of academic work and realized that we actually have something that could be solving a major medical issue. So we focused on really in the academic kind of background in figuring out how to create biomaterials for cartilage repair. So it was really kind of a medical need driven research. And then we kind of ended up having very interesting results and thought that, okay, we need to do something else than just publish the results, even though, of course, that's valuable also. But then we decided that we will start a company and bring this innovation to the patients. So that was kind of the background. And what's really motivating us is to enable people to regain active, pain-free mobility and make sure their knees are healthy and they can live their life at the fullest.
Thank you. Anne-Marie, would you like to add something to that?
Basically, we have been working with Virpi since 2010 and now since 2017 with Askel. So it has been a long way.
And what inspired you particularly to move obviously from research and academia into building Askel Healthcare?
Well, as Virpi mentioned, that we did have some really exciting and good results during our studies. We just knew that if we don't bring this forward, we don't think that anyone will. So as it was our research, we kind of feel privileged also to be the ones that are enabling this to the human treatments as well.
Amazing. And obviously through research and knowing everything about Askel Healthcare, I know that your COPLA implant has been described as a game changer in cartilage repair. How does it differ from existing solutions?
Yeah, basically the main difference, kind of the most kind of obvious difference in a way, is the fact that the patient can actually bear full weight on the operated leg immediately after the surgery. So they can be really kind of like mobile from the beginning, and they are not tied into the crutches for weeks and weeks of partial weight bearing. So that kind of gives them this quicker rehabilitation, and our patients have loved it because they kind of are free to utilize their leg. So that's very convenient, of course, for the patient. But on the other side, it's extremely important to have this mechanical loading as quickly as possible, because from a cell biological perspective, that's the key signal for the cells to start creating cartilage tissue, not the scar tissue that actually then degenerates later on. So it's kind of like both convenient for the patients to have this immediate mobility, but on the other side, that actually is the enabler of creating good quality cartilage tissue that you need to have for long-term results. So that's maybe the kind of the biggest differentiating factor with COPLA and the other implants out there.
Thank you. And I know that you've recently completed a 20 patients pilot study, and I'm not sure how much information you can share because you're still tracking the results, but are there any immediate outcomes?
Yes, so basically we haven't finished the study in full yet. We have operated all the patients and we have had all the patients gone through 1 year follow-up already. But what we have already seen and what has been the main goal, that we have demonstrated the safety of the product with the study. We have had no device-related adverse events. And also the patients have gained their mobility fast, as Virpi mentioned, the unrestricted weight bearings, as this kind of differs from the other solutions that you are actually able to use and utilize your limb immediately after the operation. That was demonstrated that was a safe way of doing it. And what we have seen is that they also, even though they are able to use their legs immediately, we did see also a fast pain relief. So that's really kind of intriguing to see that even though they are able to use their leg immediately, they are still, or the pain is still declining at the same time. So that's a good result as well. And what we have seen is good overall recovery and especially good results in sports and quality of life outcomes, which is really important with this type of a product that we want to keep people active with.
Thank you. Many of my followers and listeners of the podcast are MedTech enthusiasts and people that know and understand the industry very well as investors and some clinicians as well. So it will be useful for you to walk us through the surgical procedure.
Yes, absolutely. And it has been very designed to be from the beginning kind of with the idea that it has to be super simple. So anybody who's doing knee joint surgery can actually utilize the implant. So you don't need to be a kind of like, let's say, top of the top surgeon who's doing everything and practice for 25 years and so forth. So it's extremely simple. So the implantation can happen either in arthroscopy or in arthrotomy, so open or keyhole surgery, depending on what the surgeon wants to do. But basically it is as simple as cleaning the lesion, taking off all the damaged tissue, then filling the lesion with the implant or layers of implant, or you can just put it like a 3D puzzle, so on top of each other, next to each other, just filling the whole void with the implant material. And then attaching it depending on the situation, so fibrin glue or just press fitted or even sutures, so depending on the particular kind of anatomy and the location of the lesion. So extremely simple, that's it. And then closing the wound and good to go. Off you go. It adds 15 minutes to operation time, and these patients would be going through cartilage repair surgery. So it's not like it adds a surgery to the patient. They would be going through a surgery. But adding the COPLA, handling the implant, everything, it's around 15 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Easy, simple, quick.
Very, very straightforward.
Yes.
And Anne-Marie, from a technological perspective, what were the biggest challenges in developing a biodegradable implant? Can both support cartilage but also then disappear?
Yeah, of course it was important to acknowledge the needs of the tissue, and that is actually where Virpi comes in because she's the biologist. So basically it was all about the multidisciplinary research team that was really important during our research time, because Virpi was involved in this orthopaedic research team with also a lot of orthopedic surgeons involved. So we had the surgeon's perspective, the biologic perspective, and the material perspective. So I think all of these were really needed to kind of end up with the actual product or the idea of the product. And of course, there are a lot of material in material perspective. There is a lot to choose from. But we wanted to keep it simple. We wanted to use materials that are already known to be safe for human use, for implantable medical devices. Actually, the key is in the technology, how we do the combination of the product. But yeah, it comes from and I think that Virpi can say that there have been like tens of different things that she tried at the beginning in the lab with the cells that, okay, this doesn't work. This seems a bit better. So it wasn't straightforward that, okay, now we do this and it works. It didn't work. It wasn't like that, but yeah.
And also we needed to consider how usable it is. So the actual kind of practice level, like having those orthopedic surgeons in the group who then could kind of shoot down the ideas that wouldn't work in the clinical practice. So it kind of kept us grounded in a way. And also the fact that you need to have kind of material selected and the production method and everything in a way that you can actually produce the implant cost efficiently. So it will be kind of accessible to the masses. If it's extremely costly, it's impossible to have a kind of a wide use in that sense. So there are multiple angles, like the biology, the material science, the orthopedic reality, and then kind of the payer reality. So all needs to be considered.
Indeed. And obviously, you've been amazing in securing FDA breakthrough device designation as well. How has that impacted the development of the implant pre and post receiving the breakthrough designation?
Well, it has really helped a lot because now we have access to speak with the FDA about certain topics. So we have had these sprint discussions on many topics in our development phase. So it's really helping us moving forward, knowing that if we do this or that we are going into the right direction, all with the regulatory side as well. So that has helped a lot.
And in my research and obviously looking into your fundraising history, I mean, you've raised only 11 million and you've already have pilot study, which is obviously very capital efficient for a class 3 implantable device. Any learnings that you can share, anything that you can actually give as an advice to other companies that are maybe going through this process? How have you been so capital efficient?
So just to kind of comment on that also, that from the 11 million, actually only 7 million was equity and 4 million is non-dilutive. So that's maybe the scientific background. We are good for applying non-dilutive financing like grants and loans, because that's more, they're typically like R&D projects in our history. So that has been our kind of like strong suit also for the fundraising. But about the capital efficiency, I think it has been all the time kind of really clear focus. So we haven't done kind of any branches in a way that we could be, for example, producing different polymers with our production technology. We could be doing multiple things, participating more in a like research project and so forth, learning more about the implant or something like this. But we have kind of gained really strong focus that we have this material, we will bring it first to the knee application, and that's it. Kind of like really, really looking towards the goal and cutting all the noise away. I think that has kept us quite cost efficient and quite flexible. Now, what do we actually need? What is the next step we need to do to get to the end game in a way, and then delivering that. So really kind of being honest to ourselves that what do we need? What are the talents? What are the expertise for the next step, and then delivering. So I think focus is extremely important.
Yeah. And as part of that focus and spend, you've obviously decided to develop your in-house manufacturing capability as well.
Yes.
And what was the strategic decision behind that compared to obviously outsourcing the production?
Yeah, well, as mentioned, that we have selected kind of the known materials and already established materials. We are not doing those by ourselves. But the technology behind the production is the key, and that is also something that we want to keep in-house for the stronger IP protection as well. And on top of that, also with the in-house production, we have full control over the quality of the products. We have shorter lead times. We don't have to wait for things to come to us at certain time points. We know our own processing timelines and so forth and can handle those. And also at the long term, the cost control, the efficiency and optimization control is something that we want to keep in-house.
Awesome, thank you. And you've mentioned the pilot study and the 1-year follow-up. What are the next major milestones on your roadmap from a product development perspective?
I think the next kind of major thing to do is the pivotal trial, so that RCT trial for the authorization. So that's definitely a big thing in our future. That's going to be a trial with comparator group and a few hundred patients, and really this kind of extensive trial where we really test how good the implant actually is in comparison to current standard of care. That's our focus for the next years to come.
Amazing. And we come to the big topic of fundraising.
Yeah.
And obviously you're in the middle of crowdfunding campaign at the moment. And I'm just curious, why did you decide to go down this route, first of all? And how was the decision made?
Yep. It kind of links to the in-house manufacturing in a sense, because Askel was established in the beginning of 2017. We two scientists with no business backgrounds just kind of started a class 3 device company and realized quite quickly that we will need quite a lot of money to bring this forward. So really this, like, we had an initial angel investment and some grants from the Finnish government, but it was clear that you can't build a manufacturing site with that kind of money. And we needed to have that in-house manufacturing in order to produce the implant and further test it. So it was kind of like the first thing to do is to have that manufacturing set up, and we needed funding for that. And we started to kind of like basically Google around that, okay, how to raise funding for a company, because we haven't done that before. And then realized that, okay, basically we only have an idea at this moment, some scientific data, that we are really in the beginning of our kind of like commercial path. And then we kind of pumped into crowdfunding. Okay, there's this kind of like financing way also, that this is interesting, because in our perspective, what we are doing, it's something that everybody can kind of relate. You know somebody who has knee problems, you have knee problems, it's so common. So we thought that, okay, people should understand what we are doing quite easily. The product is quite simple, how you use it is quite simple. So then we just kind of decided that, okay, let's do a crowdfunding round. And it was a success. And then we matched that with a R&D and non-dilutive financing. And basically, we have been on that road ever since. So this is our fourth public crowdfunding round. So we have built quite an extensive crowd behind us, but it has been the strength because they have always reinvested. So it's kind of a source of financing in a way. And we have tried to manage that be very open and communicative a lot with our own shareholders, and having like monthly newsletters so they know where we are, what's happening in the company. It's not just we send them messages when we need money, we actually keep them on tabs what's going on. So it's a community. So it has worked for us pretty well, because more or less if you discuss with VCs or so forth, the time span is quite different than you have with a class 3 medical device development when you start from the scratch. It's a plus 10-year project. So it doesn't really match even the early stage VCs kind of a financing landscape. So crowdfunding has really kind of brought us here. We have basically raised the 7 million through crowdfunding and the crowd kind of that we brought in during these financing rounds. So it works for us.
And what has surprised you most so far in engaging with such a broad community of individual investors?
I think it's kind of like the support you get. People tend to kind of like comment in a positive way, but I would say it's also because we communicate. So we have also had a lot of feedback that we are kind of a unique in their portfolio, that they have invested in, of course, other non-listed companies. You shouldn't invest all your money to one non-listed startup. So they typically have multiple investments, and they have loved the fact that we actually communicate a lot. So that has maybe created that kind of a feeling of a community in a sense. So, and that has also given us a lot. It's not just that it's a kind of like extensive work for us to communicate. I think it's the other way around. The more we communicate, the more they are on top of things, and more feedback we get, more encouragement. That's sometimes very important, that people say, hey, you can do it, because sometimes things are tough. And then, of course, it helps. So there are so many different expertise behind our shareholders. So it's practical help and advice and connections. So
So you're seeing above and beyond, obviously, the money. In a similar way that you would see from a VC, you would see benefits in terms of advocacy, awareness, clinical connections, and
everything. And you get as much as you give, like typically in human relationships, that the more you open up, the more you keep these people informed, the more you actually kind of in our perspective, we consider all the shareholders kind of equally important in a way. They have enabled us to bring the company this far. It doesn't depend, have you invested 10,000, 100,000 or 1,000. They are extremely important. So I think it's kind of paying them back in a way to make sure that they are on top of things, that what happens in their company at the end of the day.
Yeah, we wouldn't be here without them.
Indeed.
We all know that fundraising is challenging for MedTech companies at the moment, and there are many companies that are not necessarily pursuing crowdfunding. What would you advise founders that are maybe struggling to raise money the traditional way and are considering crowdfunding as a campaign?
Yeah, so I think it's important to understand that you're in control of that project, the crowdfunding project. It's not ever like you post your company or the project in a crowdfunding web pages and then you wait and see the money coming. It's not like that. So there's a lot of kind of pre-work you need to do, and the more well you do it, the better the crowdfunding will go, and you need to keep kind of pushing during the crowdfunding round. So it's actually quite a lot of work. It's not like an easy way of getting financing. But on the other side, it's in your hands. When you kind of understand what things lead to investment, how you can kind of boost your round, it's those activities you do, you actually see them paying out in a way. Because, for example, when you talk with VCs and so forth, like in conferences, you prepare, you have a meeting, and you might never get anything out of it. It's kind of like you put a lot of effort and you don't always know, is it paying off? So it's like you have 1,000 discussions and then you get that one investor who says yes. But with crowdfunding, you have 100 discussions and all of them pay off in a way. So it's a little bit different game, but preparation and being in a driver's seat is extremely important. Nobody else can do it for you. So the company who's running that crowdfunding platform have their own kind of like expertise. They, of course, kind of bring you the platform and the technology, but the company itself needs to be kind of driving the campaign.
And maybe we'll translate that onto potential investors. So for those listening who may be considering participating in your funding round, what would you say are the most compelling reasons to invest now in Askel Healthcare?
I think we are in an extremely interesting position. So we have brought the technology quite far. So we have very interesting clinical results, very kind of promising. We have very good idea what to do next, what kind of trial we are going to run next, how it's going to be planned out, how we're going to get the authorizations both in Europe and US. Kind of the plan is very well mapped out and the clinical risk is very strongly mitigated. We kind of know where we can get in the next phases. So I think it's really kind of a nice point to come on board. So a lot of work has been done, a lot of risk has been mitigated, and we have a clear path forward.
Thank you.
You can participate in our community, so you will know that when you invest in Askel, you actually will be informed and you will know what happens in the company. It's not just you put your money in and never hear from the company. You will hear from us and you will be part of the crowd.
Yeah, part of the Askel team.
Yeah.
And for how much longer is the campaign open? So I'll obviously share a link in the comments with a direct link to the fundraising campaign, but maybe it's useful for you to just let us know.
It's until the 6th of October. So a little bit over 1 week still to go.
Thank you for that. And I mean, you've mentioned a couple of times that obviously building a company like this, it's a long and sometimes difficult journey. What has kept you both motivated through those difficult times of research, setbacks, breakthroughs?
I think it's quite easy when you believe in the product. So I think that's the first thing to have. And we actually really deeply understand the need. So we do know that there is a huge need for this kind of product. And then I think the co-founder support. So basically we are not alone. There are two of us, the founders. So every time you are on your lowest, the other one most likely isn't. So you are able to push her back again that, okay, no, we can do it. No, I know we can do it. Let's just push one more time.
Yeah.
Just more. So I think that's,
Yeah. Everybody has bad days. And especially when you are this kind of a class 3 device development, it's not a sprint. It's like a crazy ultra marathon. It's like the Ironman 5 times kind of like thing that lies ahead of you. So there will be times when you think that, why on earth did I go to this path? And this is crazy. Why I use my life for this? Because things happen and you get kind of slapped to your face. So it's extremely important, as Anne said, that you have a partner that you know will be there, that will always say that, hey, let's keep going. And then the other way around, because it keeps you going. It's not like the success and the money, because that's not your everyday life. It's the normal everyday life that you need to be able to kind of carry out and be motivated. So when you have your lows, somebody's there to kind of pick you up. That's so important. So I would encourage anybody never to go alone to class 3 device business. Have a team and team you kind of trust and who's there for you.
Can lean on.
Yeah. And the rest of the team is also really important. So surround yourself with people you trust and know that will be there and will support you and have the same goal and want to have the same goal. And also, as we have mentioned multiple times, investor network. So basically, the crowd that we have, that support as well, is something that we want to do this forward and bring this forward, because we know that we have such a strong support from there as well.
Yeah, it kind of gives you this, you don't want to give up when you have good people around you, but also in our case, because there are hundreds and hundreds of normal kind of everyday people who have invested in us. They're not like professional VCs who are investing somebody else's money. Our investors have invested their own money. So it's kind of like you have this, you're kind of humble because of that. So you would never give up because so many people have actually believed in you. So I think that also gives you this support that you kind of like, you're not just doing it for you or for the founders, you're actually doing it for hundreds and hundreds of people. So that's a strength.
And ultimately the patients as well, as you rightly pointed out, there are 100 millions of people that are suffering from knee cartilage damage.
Yeah, that's the base why we are doing this.
Yeah, and especially now when we have those early clinical results, because me and Anne have been doing this for the past, 15 years or so. And we originally just had the kind of idea that, there's an issue, we should be doing something. How do we fix this? And we kind of push it through years and years. And now we have the results and it seems to be working. So that's so valuable. That really gives you that I would never give up because the product is working. And as Anne said previously, it's kind of believing in the product. And we really believe in it. And we know that we could be helping millions of people to keep them active, keep them doing the things they love to do. So if you don't get motivated by that, I don't know what's wrong with you then.
Of course. We spoke about obviously your next major milestones, but tagging along to this, maybe the vision of where do you see Askel and the business maybe 10 years from now? What impact do you hope that the company would have done, and both in the orthopedics world, but also to patients as well?
Yeah, of course, we hope that this product is kind of in the market globally used. So it will be in the surgeon's toolbox. So many surgeons will be kind of considering when they see cartilage lesions, they think, I need COPLA. Kind of like that it's kind of the go-to solution, and it will be helping as many patients as possible. And of course, it also would be lovely to give back. So because when you do this kind of a marathon, Ironman, what did I say previously? So it would be lovely to give back. So helping new entrepreneurs, especially who are coming from academia, kind of like lessons learned, because there's no reason of doing the same mistakes we have done, because of course we have done multiple mistakes. So kind of sharing that and helping people out, that would be kind of dream come true. Make this product a success and then enable us to kind of bring new products to other issues.
Amazing. Well, it's been a pleasure to hear about the story. I think you're building something amazing. And I've mentioned to Anne-Marie before we started recording that I myself have a hip replacement, which was basically an early onset of cartilage damage in my hip from osteoarthritis. So it's very good to see. Well done on obviously developing this product. And I will keep my fingers crossed for you to successfully close this round and to get some very positive results further down the road. But it's been a privilege to have you.
Thank you so much. It was a privilege to be able to tell our story, and hopefully we can, at the end of the day, help a lot of patients, and maybe there's some listeners there who want to join us. So please check the campaign and let's do this together.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you both.